there, Skeleton Key here. I'm excited because I made Panna Cotta today. Yay! So I'm excited. So that will be my treat at the end of this video, which is not on a super pleasant topic. This is my 1-star reads for 2020. Fortunately, I only had 5 1-star reads. I do want to talk a little bit about negative reviews. I mean, I do review everything I read. I mean, sometimes, like, if it's a children's book and I'm just like, sure, it was fine, you know, because I don't have kids, so I can't really speak to, you know, how useful it is as a parenting tool. I have no idea. All I can speak to is whether or not I enjoyed it. And, you know, sometimes kids' books are not made for a 50-year-old woman to enjoy. And that's okay. But in a review for a children's book, I'm really not going to say a whole lot. I do feel compelled to review everything that I read, though. And I mean, sometimes I will DNF a book, and I do not review books that I DNF. I don't feel like that's completely fair. If there's a specific reason I'm DNFing a book, I a lot of times will make a comment to that effect, but I don't, it's a progress report comment. It is not an actual review, and I don't rate them, but I don't DNF probably as much as I should. And I mean, sometimes, I will admit, sometimes I will hate read a book. Or if it's a book for a specific challenge, sometimes I will just grit my teeth and get through it. And there's one of those on this list that I totally would have DNF'd if I had felt I had the option. And I didn't. But I do write negative book reviews, and I personally, and especially as an author myself, I have been warned away from doing that I should only review books that I can give 4 or 5 stars to. And sometimes some people will say, oh, well, you know, anything less than a gushing 5-star review is betraying your fellow authors, and I don't quite get that. But in my reviews, I try to state what I didn't like about it, why I'm giving it a negative review. And even if it's an overall positive review, a lot of times there will be things that I did not like about the book, and I try to say what those things were, just in case it affects another reader's decision. A lot of things are, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure kind of thing. Everyone has different reading tastes. And so if I give detail on what I did and did not like about a book, that can help other readers make decisions, because ultimately reviews are for readers. They are not for the authors. But if you're an author and you read or watch my reviews and you don't like what I said, yeah, sorry. Suck it up. Because I am a reader. I have opinions. I am entitled to my opinions and my feelings. I think it is beneficial to other readers to share those thoughts and opinions and feelings. So, all right, I'm going to go into my 5 1-star reads for 2020. And I do have these in order, but honestly, these were all, I mean, they were completely different flavors of awful, but I thought they were all pretty awful. You know, as far as star ratings go, I kind of do star ratings as just a gut feeling. You really need to actually read my reviews to understand where it came from. And sometimes, you know, you'll look at the star rating and read the review and go, what? How did you get 4 stars? You picked this thing to pieces. Why are you giving it 4 stars? And sometimes that just happens because it's like, yeah, I nitpicked all over the place, but when it came right down to it, I really enjoyed the book. I mean, that actually happens a lot. And I do use the Goodreads anchors. So 1 star is I didn't like it. 2 stars is it was okay. 3 is I liked it. 4 is I really liked it. And 5, I think Goodreads has it's amazing. It was amazing, or something like that. But I figure that's, 5 is wow. This I loved this. There was something special about it. So, I mean, 4 and 5 stars for me is awesome. 3 stars is really, I mean, I liked it. 3 stars means I liked it. And even 2 stars, if you get a 2-star review from me, don't cry about it, because 2 stars means it was okay. A lot of times that means I didn't really find anything wrong with it, but it didn't float my boat. It just wasn't for me. And it is okay for books to not be for me. I mean, I'm one person. If my 2-star review sends you over the edge, really get a therapist. All right? And my 1-star reviews, I mean, some of these are going to be unpopular opinions. At least 2 of these I know are hugely popular. Probably 3 of them. 4? At least 3 of these. Hugely popular with their audiences. Let's put it that way. And, 1 is considered a science fiction classic. All right, so here we go with my 5th worst read of 2020. The Capture by Catherine Lasky. And that is the first book in the Guardians of Ga'Hoole series. Anthropomorphic owls, and I really don't want to go into a lot of detail here because I have ranted at length on this book already in other videos. A part of why I gave it a 1-star review is I was so deeply disappointed because I love owls and I don't mind anthropomorphic animals, generally speaking. But there was just so much wrong with this. And as far as some of the messages it sent about societal roles, and I mean, on the one hand, there were other messages that were good, like question authority. That's like, okay, well, that's a good message to send little kids. Oh yeah, this is a kid's book. And by the way. And then there would be a lot of stuff that was, the author trying to insert actual scientific facts about owls, and I'm down with that. And then she would just come out of left field with something that was totally bizarre and unrealistic, even for anthropomorphic owls. And I was just, what is that real? Is that a thing? And I would have to go look it up and go, oh, good, that's not a real thing. But I can't imagine how confusing this must be to a child who is interested in learning about owls. And I don't know, or maybe I'm just reading too much into it and it's just a fun book for kids. But anyway, I did not like this book. So 4th worst. And this is by Robert A. Heinlein. This is a science fiction classic, Starship Troopers. Mainly it was just boring, but it was also very rah military, and I guess I get kind of where it came from because Heinlein had a lot of military experience and that was very important in his life. But he spent so much time describing just how awful life in the military was. But then he would use that as a recruitment technique, and I found that disturbing. But mainly the book was just really boring. So it's military science fiction. If you've got some sort of challenge that you need to tick military sci-fi off on your list. I mean, it is a classic. And I can understand why certain readers really like it. This was just not for me. I did not like it. My third worst book. And this was a freebie from, I think, Libro. Yeah, this was a Libro FM freebie. And I gather it's based on a video game? A kid's video game. It's called Missing Pieces. It's by Carly Ann West. It had an intriguing premise about this kid moving in across the street from this creepy house, and there's a girl in the house that he has a crush on, but her dad is... Or is it a girl? Now I'm getting it confused with another book I read that... I'm having a really hard time coming up with the details on this, but I do remember thinking it was kind of an intriguing premise. However, it was kind of incoherent. A lot of it just did not hang together, and then it did not have a proper ending. It was like one video game session, and you never really get a good sense of what direction it is going with some of the characters. It's like, oh, well, this character is a villain. He's very obviously a villain, and you have to avoid him or take him out or whatever. That's the big bad. And then you get the impression that, oh no, he's just misunderstood. He's not a villain at all. And then the book never actually makes a decision on that. It's just really weird. It was... I couldn't really figure out what its purpose was other than to play off of this video game, and now I can't even remember the name of the video game. Maybe the video game is called Missing Pieces, but I'm thinking it was called something else. But it just did not flow well as a story or as a video game even. It was really strange. So, second worst. And it's too recent to be considered a classic, but I know a lot of people who really, really love this book. It was on the Sirens reading list for last year's challenge. And it was one of the required books. So it wasn't in one of the sections where it's like, here's 15 titles, pick 5. No, this was in the required reading section. So I felt like I had to power through it. And it's The Stars Are Legion by Cameron Hurley. And I know a lot of people who really, really love this book. I hated it. I fucking hated this book. I had been warned there's lots of body horror. But I thought, well, I made it through Monstrous okay. There's a lot of body horror in that, and it wasn't really my kind of read, but I got through that okay. I can handle this. Oh God, no. I could not handle this. Yeah, there was... And it was just so disorienting. I never figured out what was going on in this book. I mean, characters would be introduced, but they were all like suspicious of each other and lying to each other, and one of the characters had like memory issues and couldn't remember who anybody was, but also didn't believe anybody when they told them who other people were, and I was just so thoroughly confused. And then the concept of the book, I couldn't even get a handle on what the concept was. This one character had like a detachable uterus and could like give it to another person so that she could give birth to a part of a ship, like a cog. I mean, it was surreal and not in a good way. And I derived absolutely no enjoyment from this book. So, yeah, I lost a lot of what I recorded last night. So, fortunately, I still have another Panna Cotta left. So, yay. So hopefully I'll get everything recorded and saved properly so that I can finish my last Panna Cotta. Okay, so I think I've got at least some of my technical issues solved for the moment. So let's see if I can get this recorded and uploaded and everything. So my final 1-star book for 2020 was, I'm not going to say the author's name. It's a self-published author, and I try to cut self-published authors a little bit of slack because, wow, that's an undertaking. Just think of all the stuff that goes into publishing a novel, and it's a lot. I mean, it's not just write the novel and submit it and do some edits and the publisher takes care of the rest. No, you either do everything yourself or find people to do it for you, but it's not easy. It's not just a matter of finding people to do it for you. There's so much more involved, and it's just a lot. So I'm not going to say this author's name. I just can't really excuse how awful this was. It was completely incoherent. I mean, if you really want to know the title and author, you can find it on my Goodreads shelves. But all I'm going to say is that it was not polished in any way whatsoever. It was essentially a brain dump. And brain dumps are fine. Brain dumps are wonderful. My first draft of everything I do is a brain dump. But you don't take your brain dump and slap an ISBN on it and sell it. Fortunately, I downloaded it for free from the library on Hoopla, and it didn't cost me anything, but I'm sure it cost the library something. I feel like there's no excuse for that. Yeah, so it definitely gets a 1-star in my book. In other 1-star book news, I do still have a copy of this. I haven't got rid of it yet. I don't really want to unleash it on some unsuspecting little free library patron. So I think I'm going to offer it to a friend of mine who has a daughter about the age to appreciate this, and I'll just give her a fair warning and let her decide what she wants to do with it. Like I said, kids seem to love these books, so, whatever. So there, I'm done with my ranting and everything. To reward you for clicking on this, I will post the recipe for my Panna Cotta in the description below. Enjoy, and till next time, please like and subscribe, and see you around.